roll your dough. If you're into store-bought sandwich making bread, you're gonna wanna stay tuned for this video. It means it won't find my face, so that's probably not a good thing. Oh, this little camera. Anyway, good morning, YouTube family. Some of you guys asked for a video on the bread that I make that we roll out like cinnamon rolls. It's super soft, cuts very well. It makes awesome sandwich bread. So I'm just going to start on that. First thing I need to do, I'm not going to pull all of the ingredients and show you guys all that because I'm going to try to make this a fairly short video. You guys don't want to see me pulling ingredients, but the first thing I need to do is get a cup. I've got 2 tablespoons of sugar in here. I'm going to put warm water over the sugar and get it dissolved, and then I'm going to sprinkle yeast on the top because I want to activate my yeast before I put the yeast over in my bread. So I'm going to do that before I start pulling ingredients and getting them mixed together. So just want to let you guys know that is very important. I like to activate my yeast before I put it over in my bread. So here we go. Okay, you guys know that I have sourdough starter that I use a lot. I'm just sprinkling this on top, y'all, and covering the surface of my cup basically. But you guys know that I have sourdough starter that I use a lot, but when I'm not well prepared and get it out and get it fed and ready to use, I do a quick bread that is a great bread, but it does call for store-bought yeast. So this will now be activated. I need to let it sit for about 5 minutes while I'm gathering my other ingredients, and you're going to see on the top is going to change. And it's going to get very foamy all over top. And that's what I mean by activating your yeast. That is some activated yeast right there. Alright guys, I've got all my ingredients right here in my big mixing bowl. So my yeast is activated. You just saw a shot of that. You see the foamy stuff on top. That means your yeast is activated. I'm going to go ahead and dump that over in my mixture. And I'm going to add about a cup of warm water. I had a cup and a half. The thing that I like to do with my bread is I don't want it too wet and I don't want it too dry. So this recipe actually calls for a little less water than what I use, but I like my bread to be soft and moist. So I am going to knead this dough until I get it to the consistency that I want. And I can already tell you right off the bat that this dough is a little too dry. I've got some helpers right across from me. So I'm going to go ahead and add my other cup of water. And I'm going to knead until I get this ball not sticky but not crumbly either. And I'll show you guys a picture of that when I get that done. But it's going to be about a cup and a half of water added to the cup that you activated your yeast. Okay, so I have all my ingredients in here. I've used a cup and a half of water from here. And you guys saw me just talk about my cup and a half of water from in here. And you see the texture of my dough. So I don't want it to be so sticky that when I knead the dough, it sticks to my hands. I don't want that. But I don't want it to be so dry and crumbly that my dough is not formed a good ball. So here's my dough. It's a beautiful, beautiful little ball here. And now I need to get this covered and sit in a warm environment for probably 3 to 4 hours. But what you're really looking for is your dough to double in size. All right, I am going to use a piece of wax paper and cover my dough just because I don't want the top to dry out. And my warm place is in my oven. And I turned the light on in the oven. You can see the light on in there, and that kind of keeps it at a good temperature where it's very favorable for your yeast to be happy, warm and happy, and that's just what's going to make my dough rise. So it is now 9:45, and I will come back at about 1 o'clock and check on that. It will likely be doubled in size, and then we're going to start rolling out, y'all. All right, y'all, my dough is ready. It has doubled in size. You can see it way up in this big bowl. I'll show you another shot in a minute. So here's the different but super easy part. So let's get started. We're fixing to roll some dough. I have cleaned my counter and I have floured my counter and got my rolling pin, and I've greased some, I think these are like maybe 9x3, something like that. I don't know, whatever your regular bread loaf is. I have no idea what size it is. Those are just your standard bread loaves. And I am going to half this dough, okay? So it's 6.5 cups of flour. You guys will see the description. You will see the recipe down in the description. I always say that backwards. So the ingredients that I have actually in here will be down in the description. So y'all make sure you find the little drop down triangle and you will find the ingredients for this particular bread recipe. But here's where it gets different. I need to half this dough and I'm going to roll it out. So let's take a look at that. All right, so I'm going to just kind of pull this dough up here, and I want to half this. I'm not getting technical, y'all, and measuring, okay? I'm just gonna say that's pretty close to half. Now this is the way that I have been doing the past several times that I have made this recipe. I'm actually gonna put a little bit more with this. All right, I've taken my pan and I've setting it up just right above. And what I'm gonna do from here, did y'all see that? Are you sneaking my dough and eating it? Jennings is pinching off pieces of my dough. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna go about the width. Hey, Sneaky, I see you in my camera. I'm gonna go about the width of the pan, okay? And I'm gonna go up and down just far enough where I can get a good roll that will fit in this loaf. That's about the width of my pan. Like I said, you don't want it to go more than the width of your pan. And then I'm just going to give it a little roll, okay? It's not very big. And then I'm going to take this and I'm just going to roll it up. Now this is going to be bread, y'all. I'm not making cinnamon rolls. And then I'm going to place this right in the middle of my loaf pan, okay? And then this is going to rise, and then we're going to bake. So I've done one and I have to do the other, and it's going to go right back into the warm oven, and you guys will see it when it comes out and it's cooled, and then we'll cut. The bread looks absolutely beautiful. Now I'm going to turn the oven on about 325, and we're going to bake this until the top gets nice and golden. All right, the bread is cooled. It's actually the next day. So I baked the bread yesterday and we just had kind of a crazy afternoon. So told you I wasn't going to make this video real long because it is pretty simple and I didn't want to just overload y'all with the stuff like getting the ingredients and mixing it. So here's the loaf of bread. It is done. Our professional cutter is going to make the first cut.
I don't know about that.
It actually looks like a huge chunk from the side.
Mama.
Hold on.
Hey. Hey, Mama. Hey, Mama. Hurry. Hurry.
You can see the consistency of it is super soft. I mean, really, the outside even looks like store-bought bread,
Really
but
does.
it's really good. It's got texture of store-bought bread, and I think that really comes in with the roll. I think that's where you get that softness and it doesn't crumble. You can actually see the sort. I mean, it's just really cool. I've really enjoyed making this style bread.
But not only this, our kids like it because they actually don't even think of it as sourdough bread or, you know, homemade bread. They look at it as almost like you buy it from Walmart bread.
Yeah, which it's been perfect. We absolutely love it. I think if you guys give it a try, you'll really like it.
Man, look at that. No crumbling. I mean, it's just a beautiful loaf of bread.
Yep. Super easy to do, and if the kids don't complain and it stays together like in a sandwich, that was like a big deal for us. Can't beat that. Happy homesteading, y'all.